You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Good morning. How are you doing, guys? And everybody, gentlemen and ladies, Dave and Brett. And so we're going to do some meditation. Today I'm going to talk about a little bit about a mind game. Of course, all along we talk about a mind game. Today I'm specifically talk about people's how we play our mind game, how we play our consciousness, how we play that energy with our mind, with our brain, with our neurons, with our consciousness, how that uncertainty, how that wavering, how that boggling, how that wobbling can really affect our body, affect our mind, affect our fortune, affect our desire to accomplish something. And what is the uncertainty? What is the certainty? What is the determination? And what is commitment? And how do you direct your mind into certain things to achieve anything and to accomplish anything? So, and let's do some meditation before we get into it. Take a deeper breath. Breathe deeply. And calmly. Listen to yourself. Observe your mind. Observe your neurons. Observe the transmission of your neurons. See the synapses of that connection of your neuron cells. See the calm communication and reorganization of your cells, billions, trillions of them. Watch them, how they communicate, reorganize in coherent frequency together. Feel your body and mind, that communication, that organization. Put everything in order. From the feeling of the sensories, of tightness and the relaxation, the pains, the agonies, to the mind, release that attention, to let it go, all the burdens, emotions, stress, tightness, to open up the mind and the bodily energy. Along the way of releasing the tension, along the way of detach all the burdens, stresses, let your mind naturally get deeper and deeper. Your breath become deeper and deeper. Slowly you arrive in a deeper state of mind. Get out of one state of mind into another state of mind of calmness and deep meditative state. When you are in that state, your pain is gone, your stress is gone. You totally see a different realm of the world. Without the old images, without old thoughts, without old physical forms, stigma. Slowly raise your hands up all the way to the sky. Breathe deep. I say mind game in life is a mind game. Whatever you see, whatever produced your mind, will realize in reality. And that is a fact. And Mr. Ford did. And Carnegie, Mr. Carnegie, and did. David, have you heard of Mr. Carnegie? Who is the giant of this steel plant, steel industry. And he used to be the richest guy in America. Andrew Carnegie. And also Rockefeller. You know, you heard of Rockefeller, right? All these people actually, all they did is the mind game they played. They're determined to do whatever they want to do. And they follow up, they follow through. They're never wobbling, never give another thoughts. Of course, occasionally, slip, but they get back right away. And so, same thing as Nicholas Tesla. Of course, Nicholas Tesla used to work for Thomas Edison, and he's the one, created a lot of things for Thomas Edison. Of course, Thomas Edison is the boss, but later on, because of differences, he left, and Thomas Edison, he was on his own, and he created over 1,000 patents. He's the most creative thing in electronics, in electricity in America. All these things, all these cell phones, all these remote, all these things created by him. All this electricity, the remote things created by him. And today we use the most of things we use. All this created by him. And Nicholas Tesla, of course, you have today you have Nicholas, you have Tesla company, and so whatever in your mind you create, and you will realize in reality. Doesn't matter richness, doesn't matter finance, doesn't matter relationships, doesn't matter what. It's going to be realized. Why a lot of people cannot do that? Because they have too much wiggling mind. They want to do one thing, they're afraid. There's a fear take over, and they see the so-called the appearance reality, and that put them down, and they could not accept that reality they create. And according to what we see from Albert Einstein, from John Wheeler, from Niels Bohr, from Heisenberger, and from David Bohm, everybody sees the one thing. The world is an integrated world. And yes, it is certain uncertainty. The waves uncertain. The universe is always in an uncertainty, and then from a microscopic, from a atomic physics level. And however, it is the mind participation. It is the conscious participation. What your mind goes, that becomes what it becomes. Everything is uncertain until the mind is involved. The mind, as I said last time, is the divine mind, but we are part of that divine mind because we are the participation of the divine mind. Let's say the whole mind, the divine mind is the God. We are part of we are the son of the God. And we are part of that divine mind. We are part of that fabric of that consciousness, mind of the universe. So whatever we pursue with a determined mind, we will realize whatever it is. But you have to have that mind to accept that reality from the perception. The perception, you have different perception. You have a very low rank perception. The low rank perception is, well, this is what I see, this is what I get. Okay, you get another perception, another level perception. You created that world. You participate in that world. You perceive, you receive. What I say is perceive, conceive, receive, accept with grace. You see the world can be this big. You can see the world as this small. Whatever you perceive, that's you conceive. That's you receive. If you see everything's messy, and that's what we perceive. What do you perceive? You conceive the messy world. You get the messy world. However, there's another way. Another way is that the world can be recreated. Your world can be recreated. Your thinking make it so. If you see the healthy, if you see that wealthy, if you see that richness in mind, in body, not only in physical, but in spiritual, and that's what you get. There are millions of evidence to have proved that in the past centuries. A lot of people, fell into the puddle, never being able to get out. But some people get out of the huddle, becomes another person. For example, a friend of mine from Daphne, Alabama. Actually, her husband was a radio person, and he runs a radio station. He lived over 100 years old. And her name is Elizabeth. And she had a terrible arthritis when she met me. She liked to play tennis. She liked a lot of things. But she had to quit for a month until she met me. And Burr was the one introduced to her. She was 79, Burr was 82. And both of them practiced Tai Chi with me in Daphne, Alabama, and in Fairhope, Alabama. And then she had a severe arthritis. She could not, get a day without pain. So we started meditation. We started Tai Chi. We started Zen Taikong. There's about 6 ladies. They're all friends. they're all over 78, The youngest was 78. And I had a picture of them work with me together. That was 1991. I remember years later, and she said, it's about 20 years later, and when she was over 90, 99, I believed, and she went to France to see the France Open, and she went to Wimbledon. You can see, 20 years later, 79 she didn't do it, but 20 years later, 99 she won it. She won it. She didn't quit until she was, probably, she was 102. She quit because she had a car accident in front of the YMCA. That's why I talked indefinitely. Because of the loop, she running around the loop. She could not see. She hit somebody. She hit somebody in behind because she could not see. She said, "Well, so far I have to quit, and because I had a big accident." I said, "Okay, practice at home." But she's still alive. You can see people can change their lives from such a painful situation, and uplift to another situation. But you have to dive into it. Not only just believe yourself, you've got to put your heart, put your mind, put your emotion, put everything into that game, that mind game. Same thing with a lot of other people, And I see, and I told you guys about Hart. Hart eventually passed away, not because he didn't get better, but because when you are wrapped around with the physical, with that drug, with that hospital, with the diseased mindsets, very difficult to get out. Very difficult to get out. I told you that, and I think probably not as much detail. And that was 2004. He came to see me. And 2005, and we had a Katrina, and 2006, and he came over to me probably to the beginning of 2005, and just a few months from 2004 we worked a little bit. It got a little bit better, and then the beginning of 2005 he dived down all the way to the bottom, and he had and I told you guys, he had a lung cancer in the heart. Lung cancer really getting bad, and it spread all over the body. Doctor told him he has, about 2-3 months. So, and about 2.5 months, and his family came over, gave him a departure party, and he's really dark, because see that concept, that consciousness, that mind, all the people get you into you dive down, and you believe that. You believe you're gonna die. You believe everybody said it's true. You believe the doctor was true. And that's the game. That's the mind game. Because you dive into the dark game, and the family, 60 people came over, give him a departure party, put everything black. That's getting him in really. He laughed over it, but in the midnight he could not sleep. He can really pain. Second day he came over to see me. He told me he has 2 weeks to go. I said, if you believe it, go ahead, die. If you see there's another way, we can work on it. That's precisely. Many people died in that 2 weeks. Because I saw plenty of these people died in that 2 weeks, that 2 months, that 3 months. The doctor told them. Because that's stats, that don't mean anything. Because everyone conformed into that the death sentence. It's sad, but that's just physical reality everybody conformed into. So we walked for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, he said, I couldn't believe I thought I could not walk. Because when the beginning, he came to my office, he said he cannot walk. I said, well, let's talk. And I walked the talk. He followed me. 2 hours later, he said, wow, I can do this. I think I can survive. So next 2 weeks, he came, twice a week. And the next 3 weeks, he came twice a week. Next 4 weeks, he came twice a week. Next, 6 months, he came twice a week. So he can get over that obstacles. He got over that mind conformity, the death conformity. 8 months later, he went to Arsenal Hospital to check. Everything's negative. People say, how do you do that? Whatever you do, we don't understand. Go ahead, do it. We cannot do anything because everything's spread, and there's no chemotherapy, there's no radiation, there's nothing they can do about it. Because all through spread all over the body. I didn't do anything. I didn't do a thing. Just all we did is I accompanied him to do the meditation. And I encouraged him to do meditation. I talked to him on the phone and worked with him every single day. He did it on his own. Okay, 2006, of course, because of the Katrina, he left for Savannah, Georgia. He lived in, he went to his daughter in Savannah, Georgia. And 2008, this is 3 years later. 2008, he came to see me. He invited me to a restaurant to eat. He's full of radiation. He said, "Wow, I hated that I rejected you at the beginning, but you saved my life." I said, "No, I didn't save your life. You saved your life because you believed it. You got into it, and then that's how it is." Everybody can do that. Same thing as this pandemic. Everybody got into the fear. As we know, from a genetic standpoint of view, from an evolution standpoint of view, if you get into Darwin's state of mind, of course you cannot never get out. Darwin believes the monkey, you're a monkey. You got rid of the, this tail, and then you become a person, and then you survive the fittest. You struggle, and you survive. But there's another way. We call it adaptation way. This theory has been there for a long time. People don't believe it. Because people believed Darwin's mechanism. But then another way is cooperation. Another way is survival, adaptation. Survival, snuggling, not struggling. Working together, and then to adapt to the situation. One person and get out of that loop and try to get other people get out of the loop. Even get dogs, chickens to get out of the loop. The Chinese people say, 一人升天，一人得道. 机构升天 means one got that into that divine matrix. One person get into that Tao. One to get into that Zen mind. Everybody went to heaven. What happens is, it says, if that one person get really deep into the mind, that person can expand that consciousness, influence the whole family, influence all the chickens, influence even the animals, and everybody affected. And I just saw a TikTok today. It's about the dogs learn from the turtle. The turtle walk at the front, the dog learn from the turtle. And then you have the dogs try to learn from the monkey because get it together with the monkey so much, and try to climb the tree. And then, and he did it really well. And then this chicken got into with these ducks and then walk like a duck. So what happened is, when you're into the group, that group beautiful mind, and you can be part of the beautiful mind. I used to treat a bunch of authorities. A bunch of authorities from a SAD hospital system in Mobile, Alabama. And a lot of people had this marble fiber. And then a lot of people have arthritis. I told them that acupuncture, that Tai Chi can help them with arthritis. And one person, got into it. Another person got into it. A group of 15 people. Everybody got better. Why? It is the mind. Everybody affect each other. Everybody begin to see, not only see the results of one person has a much better range of motion, less pain. Another person got into it. Another person got into it. Another person got into it. A group of people, and everybody become affect each other. And that it is that consciousness. It is that mind. Because everybody believe it, everybody see that happening, everybody see that happening, and the more things, more they get into it. More get into it, they get even better. That's the mind game I'm talking about. And I told you guys, Lisa from Atlanta. She does everything I do. And then today, I got an interview with her the other day for the PBS and program. She said, I don't want to talk about the past. I'm over with it. I said, good. Because she had such a terrible health, all the way to cancer. She lived all. But now she's healthy. She said, well, I'm departing from the past. I'm totally renew myself. So she lives in a totally different realm. A realm of health, a realm of happy, a realm of enjoyment. In the past, she was wealthier. She has more than many houses, one of her houses is huge, and then she has another. She has so many lands, but she was not as happy. Her health is going down. It was going down very, very badly. To all the way to life-threatening. The wealth doesn't mean anything. What do you need them for? So today, she totally renovated herself, and she lives in Hawaii. And she's healthy, and she's beautiful. She's radiant. All she's showing me is the sun behind her, the water behind her, the mountain behind her, the live plants become her friends. So it's a different mind game. But that mind game totally affects health. But her wealth is not getting worse. Her wealth is still good, but her health is better. Her emotion is better. Everything's better. So it is the mind game. Sometimes you dive into this, nitty-gritty, and all this a penny here, a penny there, and argue with this, argue with that, and all these lands, all these, she had a lot of participation, but now she doesn't participate anything of that nature. She let her go. Her health totally renovated, but she's happier. That is very important. She shared with others. She donated to my school too, and she's very sometimes can be very generous too. But that generosity also help people. Why? Because you let it go. That's the thing. I told people. Sometimes when you give, and you get more, because it's a circle. It's a cycle. I'll give a lot. I'll get some. I'll get more, and that's what I see. So it's a cycle. You have a beautiful and virtuous cycle, I call it. When you try to keep, you argue, it's my selfish, and then there's no circle. There's no circle. And then yours is no longer really make you happy anymore. But that is going to be rotten. So health is very, very important. But mind health is more important than the physical health, because mind health and really affect your physical health. So the mind health, the physical health, the financial health, the emotional health, all of them are together. By what? Propels by the consciousness. If you have a low consciousness, the vibration is very, very chaotic. If you have just a material consciousness, that consciousness is very low. You don't see beyond that. Because anything can put you in a very, very chaotic situation. Because material consciousness cannot go through turmoils, cannot solve the problems that you created. Just like Einstein said, you can never solve the problem while in the same mind that created that problem. Because everybody has different problems. If you stay in that problem, if you stay in that state of mind, if you stay in that state of conscious field, you are staying in that puddle. You cannot get out. You must. This you, of course, this you is me and you, and this is everybody else. Is that a general you? If you stay in that puddle, and you cannot never solve that problem. You've got to rise above. That's what I see. I used to be in China, studying at the puddle. See, I was doomed because I was born in a Presbyterian church, born in a counter-revolutionary family, with a Presbyterian grandparents, and with a landlord grandmother, and given to a family, and who was in the countryside, to barely feed themselves. And then the uncle passed away, and then the aunt wanted to remarry, and then I was homeless. I was doomed. Oh, you for many years I suffer. Oh yeah, absolutely. You're a kid. But from that suffering, but I went through that period, slowly I can see small incidents. Somebody give me here, somebody give me that. A small incidents, my Shifu's words, the consciousness. If you stay in that puddle, you're going to always in that puddle. When you get out of puddle, you will see a sky, different sky. If you get out of the well, you will see the sky much, much bigger than the well's sky. That sometimes hit me. And then I begin to try to see myself and renovate myself and reinvent myself many times to see what kind of realm I'm in. And if I stay in that puddle, I remember one time I want to commit suicide with a group of kids. We all want to commit suicide. Why? Because one person said, everybody say, okay, let's do it. Kids. Why? They feel they are bottom of the society. They feel they cannot even feed themselves. They feel they're worthless. They feel society against them. And that's what it was. We had probably 4 or 5 people we want to do together. But I don't know why we later on we got out of that idea. So, and then all of us become, and one guy become the United States State Department chief and translator. And he has been translating for the United States for the last 20 years. He's very, very good in English and Chinese translation. One of them become a professor and college president and for art school, and another become the dean of another part of art school, and another become a very famous lawyer in Boston, and some in China, some in the United States. I see. So all these people renovate themselves. Why? Because when they're in bottom, they see that bottom, and eventually when they see one person jumping out of that loop, and everybody see that person, if he can jump out of the loop, I can jump out of the loop. I can jump out of that puddle. So, and it's eventually everybody rise above and doing better in their lives. And I see plenty of people have done that. So that is to say, this pandemic is to remind us, and then this bottom of the hill is not the end of the world. We can adapt to ourselves, because for 1,000 years of evolution, we see we're not survival, the fittest at all. That's wrong. That physical appearance, yes, we look like that. And we need to see beyond that physical pain. We need to see beyond that struggle. We need to see beyond that competition. We need to see beyond that fight, that war. The strongest survival. But we see another part of the world. We see from quantum physics. We see from epigenetics. That evolution of that Darwin's idea we need to see beyond that. I don't want to say totally overturned. There's some valid things, but a majority of the idea, the main idea, was wrong. Survival, the fittest. This is not I say from the Zen consciousness, from the Tao. Nothing is created, everything. or just from the quantum physics, but from everything, from all the scientific research, recent research, we begin to see that the survival of the fittest is wrong. There's another way, survival of the corporation. It is we decide what is the evolution is going to be. It is each one. It is that participation person. It is the participator. If we decide, we cooperate. If we decide it's a loving world. If we decide it's a compassionate world. If we decide we cooperate together, the society, the world can be beautiful, can be much healthier. You know, one of my best friends, who is the chief director of the hospital system, he said, I've been working in hospital for 30 years. As a chief surgeon, as a president, as a chief director for the hospital system. The only thing I get out of it, the only absoluteness I got out of it is to stay out of the hospital. Anybody want to healthy? Stay out of the hospital. Trust me, 100%. Stay out of hospital. Because all the people in the hospital, they're devoted in the hospital. They're devoted to disease. They see disease, they work on disease, everything. All the consciousness is on disease. They want to make money out of disease. They want to make the system work. They want to make circulation out of that disease cycle. You cannot get out of the disease cycle. It's everything's about the disease. There's no health care. It's disease care. When disease care, you get disease. That's all it is. Because just like John Wheeler said, it is the participator. The participator make that reality to be so. Who is John Wheeler? One of the most famous quantum physics, atomic scientist in the United States. Was a friend also with Albert Einstein, with Heisenberg, with Oppenheimer. Please remember that. This is from the quantum physics, from David Bohm. Same thing. If you decide you want to get into that disease, you become diseased world. Because each person make that so. That's why I say, since I was young, I always see that. From Zen quantum, from the Zen conscious point of view. Of course, later on from quantum physics point of view. And then I see that integration, I see the parallel, I see that bridge, I see that togetherness, I see that integration of the whole, that oneness of our mind, the oneness of the humanity, the oneness of the universe. It is time to wake up. It is time to see another dimension. It is a time to see another reality. The reality what we created before. We need to stop doing it. If we continue to do that, it's more and more, and the pandemic is coming. More and more disease is coming. It's the time to turn around, to create some harmony, to respect nature, to respect ecological system, to respect each other, to have that reverence to each other, to have the compassion to each other, to the whole universe. Without love, without that compassion, the only thing we are going to is to destroy ourselves. We have evidence of 5 human distinction. And we are facing the number 6. The number 6 is who are doing it. The human being themselves. And we are ourselves doing it. So it's time to wake up, especially to face this pandemic. It is time to wake up. And the road we are traveling is wrong. We need to stop fighting. We need to raise our own consciousness. To see there's another route, to see there's another path, to see into our inner being, our inner consciousness. When we see our innermost consciousness, we see there's love. There's a vast space. There's infinite potentiality. The potentiality not only in healing our past, in healing our body, in healing our mind, in healing the universe, the healing of the humanity. That's what I see. I see so many evidence. Not just people heal their backs, heal the arthritis, heal the diabetes, heal the autoimmune disease. Because the departure from all these chemicals, departure from all these antibiotics, departure from all these drugs, departure from all these chemicals. Because we are overdosed by these chemicals. We are overdosed by, antibacteria, but we wiped our own immune system. That's a sad thing. That's a sad thing. It is time to wake up. I don't take antibiotics. I survived. I have so many diseases before. Just illusions. Whenever I see it's an illusion, when people convince them to see illusion, and I see it's a real illusion, I put in my mind, put my emotion, put everything. And of course, when I was young, I have a very, very beautiful mind, and I believe whatever people tell me. If people told me I die, I'll probably die dead. But I was fortunate to have people tell me I can get over with it. And I did. Because I live in the countryside. I live in like a turtle. Turtle never go to hospital. Turtle never goes to see his doctor. Turtle never goes to see any. Let's go to the drugstore, see if I have antibiotics, if I have Tylenol. No, never. I never took a single Tylenol in my life. I don't know if I have taken penicillin before or any other, but I don't remember any. Or any other painkiller. But as far as I know myself, I don't take those things. But I lived well. Like food, everybody get poisoned. I was fine. Why? Because I had a strong immune system. When I was in China, a lot of people get a lot of problems because sometimes Chinese countryside, not as healthy. And we went to the really remote areas, they're not as healthy. But a lot of people just not used to, because they have a lot of water is not as clean. They got all puke. I feel bad, but I did never got into the why, because my immune system is strong. Like 20 people, everybody got it. I was the only one. I was the oldest one in that group, because I'm over 30. They are 20s. You can see, it's not how much you eat, how many drugs you take, but how much you have internally. What is how much you have internally? What is the potential you have? What are the internal potential you believe you have, and how much internal, infinite potential you can open up. You can open up for yourself. You can unveil. I call unveil that greatest potential within, that greatest intelligence within. That is the important part. That's what I've been doing for the last 30 years. Not only help myself, I hope my discovery, my experience, my talk can share with everybody else, and can help everybody else to see themselves, to see one's own inner being, one's own inner intelligence, one's own innate potentiality, so that they can do better. They can do into another realm. This is very important. You're either in this puddle or you get out of the puddle in other things. Just like I told people, if you want to stay in the cancer, you stay in that wet, that cancerous situation. Otherwise, you get into another environment, another realm of consciousness. Get out of the low consciousness and into heighten your consciousness into another realm of consciousness. This is an important part of that endeavor. Just like what I told you in Lisa. Lisa totally abandoned her past work and went to another, changed her thing and changed her mind, and everything she eats, twice, and smoothies, and she got into another realm of living, and she's totally healthy. So there are thousands of evidence have that situation, and those stories are true stories. Those stories are my personal stories. Those stories are my friends' stories. I can share thousands and thousands with you. However, probably it's time for me to go, and then I hope you guys can hear what I have said, and can hear and my experience, and I can hear everybody else's voices, and then that you can benefit from it and change from within. Thank you.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
The disease of addiction is a life-altering challenge, not just for the person suffering its effects,